Thrive with me. I just wanted to upload this video to explain what my book, my first book, Beauty and the Art of Storytelling, is all about. I'm Charles Kindle, the author, and author of a couple of other books as well. Hopefully you're following along on my YouTube for the Doctor Journal. And if you're not, then this is the intro to my first book. So I wrote it in 8 acts. It's kind of like a movie of my life. And the last 2 sections I'm coming out with another book of, so they will be heavily edited. The Law of the Fastball, which is about baseball and Johnny Appleseed and fantasy stuff, really cool. But this book is all about how we shut down and can't hear all of God's story. But it's a very simple story. I wrote it in 8 acts to explain my life, and then in the middle there's an intermission with Willy Wonka, the movie. So I go through every scene and describe the strategies that you end up, that's their word, I don't use that word strategy, but these, what I called the threefold path in the book, and it's called Hope, Demand, and Deny, and it's really, you can only do one of those 3 things with your desire. And I tried to incorporate how all of life just is a controlling factor for that, and how God uses fireworks, or just the lights, or the crickets chirping, like John Eldridge would say in The Sacred Romance. And it is based upon many books that I have read, including a lot of John Eldridge, Larry Crabb, Brent Curtis, Dan Allender, Frank Tomlinson. I grew up with Francis Chan as my high school pastor. I went to the Air Force and came back, and he was my whole family grew up in his church. My son was baptized, by myself and Chuck Bomar, the university minister there at the time. And I learned a lot of stuff from people like Doug Bookman and a lot of the Master's Seminary guys. And I wrote it down in a book. Now, I'm not the greatest writer in the world, but I did try to do my best, and I hope it will affect you. But basically how it is you deal with your desires in one of 3 ways. And that is, you hope, which is the good path, you demand, which is physically abusive towards others, or you deny, which is physically abusive towards yourself. And as Larry Crabb would talk about, inside out is how we change. We have to change through the inside of the cup, not through patterns of behavior, like Paul would talk about in Colossians. There's a way to change, and that's by trusting in the Lord to change your sanctification, not to actually demand that your change happens. And I finished the book, and the basic things are, God chases or puts these little things in front of us to chase after them, called beauty, because he is the most beautiful thing. He overflows into everything else, which is what we are attracted to. And eventually what we are attracted to shuts us down, because we cannot keep experiencing it. Like you cannot have an eternal orgasm. You would, your brain would explode. Or you can't be eternally happy, because we're always in this constant state of transition between the 2 breaths. Anyway, so we're always having to eat sour or change our posture and move because of the principle of the first mover. I met a lot of people who ended up writing a lot of stuff and knowing a lot about alternative philosophies, like the law of attraction, for instance, and they saw how biblically I came up with it. So I needed a little bit of help. Maybe John Eldridge would help, but who knows? He doesn't have time for me. So I'm my own voice now. So we're gonna heal everybody by teaching them this basic thing. So hopefully you're gonna, keep your eye out for it, and try to read through it. at the top of every chapter is a very short sentence that explains what I'm talking about and kind of the theme of the chapter and what you can kind of think about. I have audio quotes and movie quotes in there from various movies that I would love for you to know exactly what I was saying, because my voice is very unique. Eventually, I'm going to do an audible version of my book to kind of explain it to you. And if you did watch this video all the way to the end, please like it. Consider subscribing at least, so I can at least practice using YouTube. I'm all by myself here, people. I need your help. Anyway, check out my book. It's on Amazon. It's also on lulu.com with the whole section in there and no edits, etc. So that's the one I would prefer you edit. Thank you.